What's up, vinyl community? It's Steve from Steve Spins Records, and today we're going to look at two soundtracks to American Graffiti and more American Graffiti. So I was recently at Surface Noise Records in Louisville, Kentucky, and stumbled upon this guy, More American Graffiti. So if you've never been to Surface Noise, I would highly recommend that you check it out. It's got a great record section in the front, a great bookstore in the middle, and then a great art gallery in the back. And Brett, if you're watching, you're the man. So I came in, he was having a 20% off sale, which was great. I found this for $5, so 20% off $5 was $4, and it is a 2 LP set. So we've got the disc 1 and disc 2, and they're paper sleeves, which came in here. And it reminded me that I had picked up the soundtrack to American Graffiti 1 at a yard sale a couple years back, so I figured I would do a video about both of them. So here's the original American Graffiti soundtrack, which we'll cover first, because it's the original, right? And then More American Graffiti is the sequel. So when we look at American Graffiti 1, it's an interesting design to the package. So it opens gatefold like this, but you've got the server from Mel's Diner that if you open it like this, you get the full shot of the server. Then you got all the tracks in 1960s script down at the bottom, a little bit hard to read. And also if you open the record jacket this way, the disc 2 will fall from the bottom. So I wouldn't advise you do that. And if you get on the inside, you can see a bunch of pictures from the movie itself. It's also got a nice write-up of the movie. And if you're not familiar with the movie, it came out in 1973. It was directed by George Lucas and produced by Francis Ford Coppola. It was actually nominated for Best Picture that year, and it's a high school coming-of-age story, right? It ended up, there's some interesting facts about the movie. Number one, it was shot for roughly $777,000, I want to say, but ended up grossing over $20 million at the box office and through home videos at the time. I guess there were VHS tapes. And that, I think it remains one of the top ROI films of all time, with the amount of investment that was made in the movie and the amount of money that it made after it was shot and then sold. Another interesting thing about the budget of the movie is, again, $777,000. You've got $90,000 of that went to the royalties to get the songs in the film. And because of that, there is no film score. This is it. This is all you got, are the hits that were out in 1962 when the movie takes place, that they're listening to in their cars, at the sock hop, at the soda shop, all that fun stuff. Very, very nostalgic. Very, very interesting. So I'll quickly go through the songs that are listed in here, just so you know what you're getting into when you go and pick up American Graffiti. The other thing that's cool, right before I get into that, there are introductions by Wolfman Jack, the famous radio DJ, throughout both of the soundtracks. So that's a really, really cool, nostalgic, interesting thing of just like, this is what it would have sounded like on the radio. So that's kind of fun. And, I think some of the fun of vinyl is the nostalgia factor, feeling a little bit like you're in a time machine, a little bit out of place in time. So keep that in mind, again, as you're going through this. So quickly read these through. Record 1, side 1, you got We're Gonna Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets, 16 Candles by the Crests, Runaway by Del Shannon, Why Do Fools Fall in Love by Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, That'll Be the Day by Buddy Holly, Fannie Mae by Buster Brown, At the Hop by Flash Cadillac and the Continental Kids, She's So Fine by Flash Cadillac and the Continental Kids, The Stroll by the Diamonds, and See You in September by the Tempos. On side 2 of record 2, that's all. Okay, so that's record 1 is side 1. Then you've got side 2 of record 1. Surfin' Safari by the Beach Boys, He's the Great Imposter by the Fleetwoods, Almost Gone by Chuck Berry, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by the Platters, Little Darlin' by the Diamonds, Peppermint Twist by Joey D and the Starlighters, Barbara Ann by the Regents, Book of Love by the Monotones, Maybe Baby by Buddy Holly, Ya Ya by Lee Dorsey, and The Great Pretender by the Platters. Then record 2, side 3, you've got Ain't That a Shame by Fats Domino, Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry, I Only Have Eyes for You by the Flamingos, Get a Job by the Silhouettes, To the Aisle by the Five Satins, Do You Want to Dance by Bobby Freeman, Party Doll by Buddy Knox, Come Go With Me by the Dell Vikings, You're 16, You're Beautiful, and You're Mine by Johnny Burnett, Love Potion Number 9 by the Clovers, and then on the last side 4 of, it's actually on record 1. Okay, so that's why they did that. They have record 1 as side 1, record 1 has side 4. Side 4 has Since I Don't Have You by the Skyliners, Chantilly Lace by the Big Bopper, one of those songs, Teen Angel by Mark Dinning, Crying in the Chapel by Sonny Till and the Orioles, and 1,000 Miles Away by the Heartbeats, Heart and Soul by the Cleftones, Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs, Only You and You Alone by the Platters, Good Night, Well It's Time to Go by the Spaniels, and All Summer Long by the Beach Boys. So, again, it claims several places on here 41 original hits from the soundtrack of American Graffiti. So there are 41 songs in total on these two sides. And again, back in the 60s, the songs were a bit shorter, right? So 2 minutes per song, which leads to the ability to jam 40 songs onto 2 discs. And again, it's really very much a who's who. If you like oldies music, if you're into any of those more nostalgic bands that are out there, I feel like there's a ton of good stuff on here, from Buddy Holly to Chuck Berry to Fats Domino to Booker T and the MG. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff on this, and serves as a great compilation for that era of music, which, I think when my wife's parents come over, we put on some music. I usually throw one of these on. I threw this one on the other day, and I'm like, good tunes. I was like, nice, got it. So it's very, very cool. If you're into nostalgic music, if you're into that time period where you can sing along to the songs and go from there, would highly recommend. So want to also check out, we'll show you the discs in there too, just so you can see what they got going on. At the yard sale, it came with the original MCA paper sleeves. My job is to get them into actual MoFi sleeves at some point. But there again, you can see the label. It's got an MCA Records on it. It's got that fun rainbow on it, but it makes it so that you can't really read the title of the disc. So there's that. And then all of the songs actually are like very tiny, tiny, tiny font. So it's one of those things where you just kind of put it on and let it play. So that was the first American Graffiti. And then this was what I picked up at Surface Noise. So this is American Graffiti, or more American Graffiti. And I saw it, and this is the second time I've been to Surface Noise. The second time I picked up something like this. I picked up Sgt. Pepper, as done by the Beatles, or no, as done by the Bee Gees or something like that. And it was like takes on the Beatles songs from Sgt. Pepper by a bunch of different bands from the late 60s, early 70s maybe. And, I took a flyer on it, and I really, really liked that pickup. So I was browsing through the soundtrack section, found this guy, and I said, okay, for $4, $2 a disc, you can't really go wrong. So there again, you see the nice cover of it. It gives me a little bit of like Journey vibes almost, or something right at the turn of the 70s into the 80s. You get very much this look here versus the classic, more nostalgic Mel's Diner look there. On the inside here, again, you just have the cast. And when I looked at this, I was like, okay, they must have made a second American Graffiti, which I didn't know anything about. I'd seen the first one, but not the second one. This poor unfortunate person with their face right on the crease there. Sorry about that. That's not what you want. And I said, okay, I'm not going to watch the movie, but I will listen to the soundtrack, because the soundtrack has things like Your Love Is Like a Heat Wave, performed by Martha and the Vandellas, Moon River by Andy Williams, Mr. Tambourine Man by the Byrds, My Boyfriend's Back by the Angels, Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel, and Season of the Witch by Donovan. So that was just side one. Side two, you've got Stop in the Name of Love by the Supremes, Strange Brew by Cream, Just Like a Woman by Bob Dylan, Respect by Aretha Franklin, She's Not There by the Zombies, 96 Tears by the Question Mark and the Mysterians. Then on side three, you've got Pipeline, performed by the Shantays, Since I Fell for You by Lenny Welch, Beechwood 4, 5789 by the Marvelettes, Mr. Lonely by Bobby Vinton, Cool Jerk by the Capitals, as made famous in Home Alone 2, I Feel Like I'm Fixin' to Die, Rag, performed by Country Joe and the Fish. And then side four is The Ballad of the Green Berets by Barry Sadler, My Guy by Mary Wells, I'm a Man by Doug Somm, Hang On Sloopy, performed by the McCoys with voiceovers by Wolfman Jack, When a Man Loves a Woman by Percy Sledge, and then Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. So again, as this one was, as the first soundtrack was very much about the 60s, I feel like this one took you, fast forwarded about a decade, got you a little bit later in time, and still really came through with some amazing, amazing songs on this compilation. So really, I thought $4 you can't go wrong with a compilation like this, with a bunch of these songs that are just, so iconic and so classic. This label, not as fun, again by MCA, paper sleeves on the inside. And I'll show you this side of it. So yeah, this is more of a just high legibility, low fun type record label on what we're doing here. But, you see your MCA, original motion picture soundtrack for More American Graffiti. It says it came out in 1979. So the first one came out in 1973. 6 years later, they did a sequel to it. It's still got Ron Howard in it, which is fun. He was in the original, as was Richard Dreyfuss. I think Harrison Ford was in it. Really only Ron Howard survives, with him and his unfortunate mustache right there. So again, same idea, same notion as the first one. Is it's really just a fun comp of oldies songs. If you like oldies music, this would be great for you. If you are interested in film scores, this probably isn't the right thing for you. This is very much I want to say it's a mixtape before a mixtape existed, right? Or very much a Spotify playlist of, oldies songs that are transformed onto these two different soundtracks from American Graffiti and American Graffiti 2. So, with that in mind, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button, as it helps me rise up the YouTube algorithms. And if you're interested, please consider subscribing, because we go through and we look at vinyl records. I do it all in one take, is my promise to you. And it makes it really hard, and it makes it really difficult and challenging. But we like to go through the records, the packaging, the songs themselves, any fun facts or fun stories about the album itself, and who the music might be for, or who might want to listen to or check out this record. So again, thank you for watching. I'm Steve from Steve Spins Records, signing off.